Tonight, the Sioux City Community School District is defending its program after the ACLU of Iowa's report called on school districts to eliminate school resource officers. Now, at the end of July, the ACLU of Iowa released a report titled Rethinking School Safety in Iowa, the Harms of School Resource Officers. It examined the impact of SROs in the state schools, even naming Sioux City in the report. The report is based on an open records request submitted to 87 school districts and 67 law enforcement agencies. The report says the ACLU found no evidence that SROs make students safe. The legal director of the ACLU of Iowa said the data raised concerns about whether SROs achieve their intended purpose.
The stated goal is to keep students safe, and without question, nothing could be more important. But unfortunately, as the report finds, there is no high quality evidence that police staffing in schools actually does increase student safety.
According to public information requests from the ACLU, in 2024-25, the 6 SROs in Sioux City schools had 1,912 recorded contacts with students. Many of those were described as negative interactions. But the district says SROs are making a difference. SROs have been in Sioux City schools under a district policy that dates back to 1994. Today, KTIV's Taylor Deckard got to see one SRO in action on the first day of school.
I was really inspired by my school resource officer when I was in high school.
Officer William Troy Hooks is starting his 3rd year as a school resource officer. He spends his days building relationships with students and even coaches 2 middle school sports.
Kids usually come to me and let me know when things are going to happen before they happen.
The ACLU of Iowa says there's no high-quality evidence that having an SRO actually makes schools safer.
Majority of the time, we work to prevent things from ever happening. I engage with a lot of students. I'm always constantly in the hall, making myself a presence as if I'm just one of the school staff members.
Hooks says if there is an altercation, his goal is immediate mediation.
Most of our fights happen because a crowd usually pumps the fight up to happen, and once you break it down to just the 2 kids and they talk it out, you find out they really didn't want to fight. There really wasn't a problem at the core. They just listened to everything, all the noise around.
Hooks, along with other SROs, went through National Association of School Resource Officers training in Minnesota, preparing for major events to minor interactions that could change the outcome for a student to work. Mo Kennedy, the executive director of NASRO, says they want to make sure they train officers properly. One priority is understanding adolescent brain development.
When we train officers properly in that role, it really helps with the de-escalation because we begin to be able to look at adolescents and have a better understanding of what's going on in that developing brain and how they're going to respond differently.
Every school has a full-time counselor, but says they wouldn't be where they are today without the help of law enforcement.
We can't do it alone, and we need them all.
The ACLU of Iowa report also cited disparities in interactions with students targeting a population. When we spoke with Police Chief Rex Mueller, he said they respond to any fight.
Officers don't get to choose what they go to. In the case of the schools, officers respond to situations. They don't get to pick the demographic of the person they're responding to.
I think when there's racial disparity in any report that's provided to the district, it's something we should pay attention to and focus on and try to do better. Analyze where we went wrong or where we can do better, and we can focus on that.
Officer Hooks says that while he is an officer in uniform, he often acts like a mentor or social worker, depending on the situation.
Kids don't just see me as a police officer, they see me as just, another staff member in the school building that's here to help them, here to try to make their day happier or better any way I can.
In Sioux City, Taylor Deckard, KTIV News 4.
And on top of that training, the Sioux City Police Department also offers quarterly training to the SROs to keep up their skills. Now you can read the full report. It's in the story right now online at KTIV.com.